All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World of Wrestling podcast. Here today to talk about the WWE Raw episode for May 25th, 2026. This episode was rinse and repeat of the same old shit we've seen week after week after week after week after week. This show was basically weak. I do not care for this show. I thought the show sucked, just like SmackDown. And I gotta say, Dynamite's probably the best show every single week. The WWE just sucks in general. Paul Heyman kickstarted the show. He showed a vignette video of Brock Lesnar and about why he came back and blah, blah, blah. And he attacked him and yada, yada, yada. And that's pretty much it. And he said he came out of retirement so he could come back and beat his ass and humble Obafemi like he humbled him. And that's pretty much what happened. Obafemi showed up. He came in the ring. He said, last time I faced him at WrestleMania, it was just to win a match. This time I'm going to kill him. That's pretty much all there was. Speaking more about the Vision bullshit, Paul Heyman pointed out that Brock Lesnar, that Austin Theory's replacement for Logan Paul being out with an injury is going to be Braun Breaker. I don't know why. I don't know why Braun Breaker would want to be a part of this. I don't know why Braun Breaker hasn't pulled himself away from this shit or convinced Paul Heyman to get rid of all these fucking numbskulls that are just lackeys and get injured all the time. I honestly think it should just be Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker. That's it. No Vision. The Vision should be Braun Breaker and that's all. By default. So anyway, Roman Reigns shows up arriving at the arena. It's his birthday, but he swats away a gift from a stagehand. Jacob Fatu is also in the building. AAA General Manager Rey Mysterio, who's now being the General Manager of AAA, was also in attendance. The WWE Champion Penta makes his entrance. He'll put the title on the line against Javon Evans next. And Javon Evans and Penta have a fairly decent matchup. Nothing too major to cry out about. But yeah, Penta ends up winning the matchup. Javon Evans looks like he might be turning heel. He was pretty dissatisfied with what happened here. Penta celebrates with the title, helps Javon Evans to his feet. Penta raises Evans' arm, but Evans pulls away and angrily walks away. Commentators run down the events for this weekend as we head into Clash in Italy. Michael Cole announces that Logan Paul suffered a torn triceps and he will be out of action for months. So that's going to take place. I already talked about Braun Breaker replacing Logan Paul. We had Joe Henry have immediately following that from the commercial break in the ring singing about how we should fire Logan Paul. I think we should just fire Paul Levesque. He sucks at his job. It's that simple. But yeah, Joe Henry then gets attacked immediately. I don't even know if he was supposed to have a match or he just was there for show so that he can be attacked by Austin Theory with thunderous chair shots, by the way, by Austin Theory, leaving him in a severe amount of pain. That's pretty much what happened there. Next, we had Angelo Dawkins walking backstage with Seth Rollins. When Seth Rollins walks up to him, Rollins says he's not trying to start anything. He did exactly what Montez Ford wanted and stayed out of their business. Rollins knows what it's like to be screwed by the Vision. They have an opportunity to put an end to the Vision now that Logan Paul is gone. Montez Ford walks up and says, nothing good happens when Rollins is around. Rollins says nothing good happens when he's not around. Otherwise, they'd be standing here as tag team champions right now. They don't have to like each other or even become friends. All they have to do is work together to eliminate the Vision. This whole idea that nothing good happens with Rollins, but only one of them has main evented WrestleMania and is a multi-time world champion. And it's not Ford. Ford says he never stabbed his brothers in the back because he's his brother's keeper. Ford wants to know where Rollins' best friends are. And Rollins asks if that's a challenge. So he then asks, Ford wants to show Rollins who is the best. Rollins asks if that's a challenge and accepts it. Dawkins looks concerned. So we have a match later on in the show. Javon Evans is walking backstage when WWE champion or IC champion Penta walks up to him. Evans apologizes, didn't mean to disrespect him. Evans will see him again for the title soon. Penta is a great champion. They shake hands and Evans walks off. Rey Mysterio walks up to Penta and puts him over for representing Lucha Libre. Penta puts Mysterio over and says he'd love to one day face Mysterio with the title on the line. Penta will talk to the Raw GM Adam Pearce. Mysterio is very excited about this. Judgment Day heads to the ring. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez will be in action next. This match was a waste of fucking time. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley end up winning this matchup. And, nothing special happened here. Next we have Roman Reigns' locker room segment. Adam Pearce apparently has become the Eric Bischoff to Triple H with Roman Reigns. He's pleading with Roman Reigns to just let him fire Jacob Fatu, and Reigns says Fatu keeps pulling aces out of his sleeve. Fatu knew Reigns would have to accept the tribal combat match as the tribal chief. There has to be consequences in the contract. If Fatu loses, he has to serve him, or Pearce will get his way. If Fatu beats him, he wishes Pearce luck because they're all screwed. How they're all screwed, I don't know. What, he gets to be a reigning world champion and enhances his career? That's how they're all screwed? I have no idea. LA Knight is walking backstage, and we'll see him in a little bit. Michael Cole thanks all those. What in the hell? It's fucking damn technology. It's crap. Thanks all who have made the ultimate sacrifice so they can put on a show like this tonight and celebrate their freedoms. Speaking of the tribute to the troops for what they've done, because it was more Memorial Day that day. LA Knight addresses the Columbus crowd. LA Knight is in the ring, gets a nice ovation, and Knight says it's been a while since WrestleMania. That he's stood before them in this ring. Knight stops and wishes everyone a happy Memorial Day. Knight says that the King and Queen of the Ring tournament starts next week, so he's throwing his name in the hat. When he wins and gets a title shot, he'll face Roman Reigns. Where does that put Jimmy and Jay? Roman is the most corrupt champion he's ever seen. I don't know how that is true, but okay. Outside of the fact he beat the shit out of Jacob Fatu with him and his cousins. Jimmy heads to the ring and he doesn't look pleased. Jimmy says he has a lot of respect for Knight. Jimmy fought side by side with Knight at WrestleMania, and Knight says he did against the Vision, but it's not the same now. Knight has been a victim of the bloodline. Jimmy gets it and says everyone in the locker room has a problem with the bloodline. They did what they had to do and it was ugly, but they're not that way anymore. If Knight wins the King of the Ring tournament, he'll have a fair shot at the OTC. Knight asks if Jimmy is being honest with himself. Jimmy is coming out here as a third fiddle to Roman Reigns, and Knight doesn't want to see him become Roman Reigns' errand boy. Again, actually. Jimmy says that this is Knight's warning shot. He's lucky his brother isn't here tonight. Knight says Jimmy is talking about a 2-on-1 attack. Maybe Roman Reigns would come out here and make it a 3-on-1 as they did to Jacob Fatu. Jimmy says that that's family business. If Knight has a problem with that, his family will become Knight's problem as well. And Knight says he likes Jimmy. Roman Reigns can't get the job done on his own. And he needed Heyman, he needed Jimmy and Jay. He does have some respect for Jay Uso, but if the family business becomes Knight's business, he'll make sure they go out of business. Yeah, and Knight walks away. I thought the promo was pretty good, but it's just the same rhetoric over and over and over and over again. And it just seems like they're trying to prove that the bloodline are good guys and they're not going to do the same things they used to do 4 or 5 years ago on SmackDown. So Adam Pearce is talking to Rey Mysterio, all ego. Ethan Page comes up and isn't happy with that Javon Evans got a free IC title match. Now he's talking with another general manager about a title shot. Page asks them what Mysterio did to earn the title. Pearce says Mysterio is a Hall of Famer, and Rusev walks up and asks what is going on. Page says that Mysterio is conspiring against Rusev and trying to jump him in the line. Rusev isn't happy about this, and Page tells Pearce to make Mysterio earn it. Mysterio says he'll face Rusev to earn a title shot, and Pearce makes it official for tonight. So Rusev and Page walk off together. And that's that. Seth Rollins and Montez Ford had a decent matchup, and Seth Rollins ends up winning the match at the end of the day. I thought this was good. I didn't think it was bad. I think it was good action overall. Probably the best match on the entire night, honestly. Nothing special. Austin Theory knocks Angelo Dawkins out onto the stage and smashes him several times with the steel chair. This is after the match was over. Theory hits Dawkins on the head as he lies on the floor, but the camera shows he missed by a mile. And Adam Pearce runs out with WWE officials and apprehends Theory, and Theory walks off and smirks. And that's pretty much it. Next, we had Adam Pearce outside the trainer's office with Montez Ford. This shit sucks, honestly. Sitting here and having to discuss this is just fucking annoying, honestly, guys. Montez Ford wants to know how Dawkins is doing. Seth Rollins runs over and asks about Dawkins. Ford says they've got bigger fish to fry with his brother out. They need to work together. Ford goes into the trainer's office, and Rollins tells Pearce that this needs to end. He needs to cut the head off the snake. He wants Braun Breaker as soon as he can. Commentators talk about this weekend's events and run down the Clash in Italy card. Kathy Kelly's backstage with WWE Women's Champion or IC Champion Becky Lynch. Some people may be impressed with Ruka's kicks and flicks, but she hasn't won anything yet. Ruka's name is written in sand, but the tide is coming. Lynch's name is written in stone. There's a difference between striving for greatness and standing across from it. Welcome to the big time. Yeah, the big time. Big load of shit is what this is. Next, we have Rusev and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio ends up winning the match by a roll-up pinfall. And Rusev lays there, does nothing, and doesn't even struggle to kick out. What a fucking joke. Rusev angrily attacks Mysterio after the match. Dragon Lee runs down for the save. Ethan Page gets up from commentary, but Lee quickly thwarts his attack, and Lee connects with a head scissors takeover, sending Page into Rusev. Lee kicks Page and knocks Rusev into the ropes. Lee hits a somersault plancha onto Page as Mysterio hits Rusev with a 619, and Lee gets in the ring and drops Rusev with an Operation Dragon. Mysterio and Lee stand tall in the middle of the ring after that. Backstage, Adam Pearce is apprehending Austin Theory as Paul Heyman watches on in the background, and Pearce says Theory's night is over after what he did tonight. It should have been over after Joe Henry attacked. Theory asks if it was enough after what happened to Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Heyman says he'll personally take care of this because Theory is out of line. Heyman whispers to Theory that Pearce is an idiot, and Theory stops and looks over at Maxine Dupree. Interesting. Who is standing with Otis and Akira Tozawa. Theory has been seen talking with Dupree over the past few weeks. Otis says that this smells like bad news, but Dupree says he's just under a lot of pressure. She says she'll catch up with them later and walks off. So apparently she's got something going on with him. Next is the contract signing, the last thing of the night. Thank God this review's almost over because it sucks. Contract signing with WWE Clash in Italy matchup. Pretty much what happened here is Jacob Fatu is pretty much under fire here. He either wins or he has to go under the thumb of Roman Reigns and become his errand boy. He will control him, run his life, and he will be a slave to Roman Reigns in that sense, until he deems him qualified enough to learn from Roman Reigns, where he can eventually become a world champion at some point in time later on in his career. At that point in time, if he chooses not to, he'll be fired. Jacob Fatu, pretty much his lame-ass verbiage was, I'm going to walk dog your ass, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to win that world championship, and you're going to work for me. And Roman even stated that if he lost, he would end up being under the tutelage of Jacob Fatu and would honor that in respect to him if he so happens to beat him. And Jacob Fatu says, you know what, this deal isn't so bad because even if I was to lose to you, which I won't, I still have a job regardless, as long as I am willing to acknowledge you, Tribal Chief. And he also asked the fans to acknowledge him, Roman Reigns asking that, and the fans did. That was in the beginning, and Roman says, see, that wasn't so hard. Why couldn't you have done that after we had our match? And he said, be like them? Be under your thumb? I want to be the best that I can be. And I want that world championship. He admits that Roman Reigns was a guy that helped the Samoan family become bigger than what they already were. And he does acknowledge that, in a sense. But he wants that world title to, raise his game, raise his lifestyle with his family. And that's pretty much the whole gist of this whole thing. They shook hands and then they pressed skulls as if they had putting the minds together. I honestly wish the creative team of this fucking multi-billion-dollar corporation would do the same and give us something worth talking about and actually watching. But unfortunately, that's not to be true. But hey, just another WWE episode of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. But anyway, guys, that was your review. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.